Westeros, a world of criminals and degenerates. But we gotta traverse a much more treacherous land, my friends. The world of cyberspace. Do people still call it that? Protect yourself with the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by NordVPN, the VPN service that strives to help make our traversing this digital hellscape known as the internet a little safer and a little more secure. Nord has a myriad of services, both to protect you, like Nord's threat protection, scans for viruses and malware from websites you visit, files you download, blocks it if it looks suspicious because you tried to close the pop-up, but you were tricked, you accidentally clicked the pop-up, and now you gotta reset your phone to factory. Yeah, dodge that bullet with Nord. But Nord also has conveniences like the ability to change your digital location with a couple of clicks, allowing you to stream shows or movies that might not be available in your region. Paid for the streaming service. Might as well enjoy the whole streaming service. That's right, World Wide Web is no longer just a tagline. Do people still call it that? So click the link below, go to nordvpn.com/johns, get an exclusive NordVPN deal plus 4 extra months. As always, one account protects up to 10 devices, all backed by Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. All right, now in Night of the Seven Kingdoms. First of all, couple things. One, I'm gonna conserve my voice because I have a cold again. How many colds am I gonna get this season? This is some bullshit. Scream 7 comes out this weekend. I don't want to sound like Ghostface while talking about Ghostface, so I might seem low energy. Don't take my low energy as lack of enthusiasm, because this show is pretty sweet. Also, this is gonna be spoiler free, because in a situation like this, I'm forced to choose between, do I talk about the entire show, spoilers and all, so we can all just kind of gush about it, or do I keep it spoiler free? So the people who haven't seen the show can see the show and get all the surprises, get the whole experience. So someone who was talking with me about the show told me a reveal in the show, and while watching this show, I couldn't help but think to myself, I wish I didn't know that. So yeah, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's a new Westeros show. Can't call them all Game of Thrones, because it's not really Game of Thrones. And I'm gonna pitch it to you better than it was pitched to me, because I'll be honest, wasn't really looking for a new Westeros show. If there's one thing they have in common, is that they all lose steam. Game of Thrones all but crawled to the finish line. House of the Dragon lost steam in season 2. Then people told me, hey, you should watch this Night of the Seven Kingdoms because it's pretty hilarious. I was like, how the fuck does that work? Westeros is a land of nihilism and shit. I had just seen enough clashing tone with the out-of-place humor and entertainment. I wasn't looking for it. Then I watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and I was wrong. Night of the Seven Kingdoms is pretty great. All right, first of all, what I like about it, it follows Sir Duncan the Tall, or as he's called at first, Dunk. Yeah, did you think of it?
Dunk.
Because I thought of it. Sir Duncan the Tall is a hedge knight, which is, it's kind of like the Coke Zero of knights. You know, it's like they're knights, but not as knighty. I have a cold, be nice. Best I can describe it. He's accompanied by this little bald kid named Egg, and they form a pretty solid dynamic, to be honest with you. Sir Duncan the Tall has the physical prowess. He's the noble hedge knight. Egg has no physical prowess to speak of, but he is really wise for his age. With their powers combined, they hit the road, so Sir Duncan the Tall can prove his knighthood in these games. Yeah, Knight's Tale. It does, well, they don't do We Will Rock You in the Bleachers or anything like that. At first, it does oddly feel closer to A Knight's Tale than Westeros, because let's talk about the show being funny. It is funny, and sometimes it's in the editing, sometimes it's in the dialogue, but the humor didn't clash as much as I thought it would. It was actually a real relief to watch, you know, people having fun in Westeros. The land of nihilism and shit. Also, jokes, sure. But that enjoyment, that lighthearted nature transcends the joking nature of the first half of this show. First half of season 1, I guess we'll call it. Thinking ahead, that is. Because it's not just the jokes, it's Sir Duncan. He's awesome. He's a good dude. And I'm used to Westeros being like, hey, good person. Yeah, I'll stomp that out right there. Yeah, all right. Ground into the dirt. Pretty sure he's dead. At least his willpower is dead. There's no coming back from that. Can't have that optimism here in Westeros. And I like that Duncan isn't highborn, you know? He's not of noble blood. Starks, Lannisters, Targaryens, they're all these highborn families, and they're all scheming. It's all about their wars and their Game of Thrones. Duncan the Tall, not noble-born, but still noble. Like, morally speaking, total paladin. It's like the showrunners of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms were like, you know, It's been kind of a drag for 2 shows now. Let's change the tone up. But in a way that, still works and fits, I dug it. What we have here is a coming-of-age story, both for Sir Duncan and Egg. And it's a tale of being in the orbit of decency. It's a story of these underdogs, not just Sir Duncan, not just Egg, but some of the people they meet along the way as well, that help Sir Duncan out in a thing that has to happen, which is the big action episode of the whole series, or season 1. And I definitely like that this show is reined in. It's a smaller, more personal story seen through the POV of Sir Duncan. Sometimes Game of Thrones, a story in Westeros, it just gets so big. There's no Dorne storyline you don't care about. There's no Daemon Targaryen hanging out in this Demon Souls dungeon for no reason whatsoever because they don't know what to do with his character. Granted, this is just season 1. Every first season of Westeros is good. Maybe this will get there. But I really hope it won't. I was always invested with what was happening in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms because it was always about Sir Duncan and/or Sir Duncan and Egg. I feel like I'm not giving Egg enough credit. That kid's really good in the show. And it is fun to match up or line up the lineage. Joffrey Baratheon in Game of Thrones talked about Sir Duncan. It's funny, he also talked about Rhaenyra Targaryen. I guess he always just talked about who the next show is going to be about. But also Egg is mentioned in Game of Thrones as well. So it's fun to be like, oh yeah, that's how these people are all connected through a couple generations. And you feel like you're watching the genesis of something truly special unfold here. Although the show uses humor as an angle, a hook, it doesn't forget where it comes from. This is still Westeros. When the drama amps up, it amps up. When the tension's there, it's palpable. But still never clashes with the humor. Other studios out there, feel free to take notes. I expected some tonal clash, tongue-in-cheek Game of Thrones comedy like they're just throwing in the towel at this point. What I found was an enjoyable quest with a main character, a main lead that you get behind from the get-go. A buddy pairing with him and Egg that is better than most pairings I've seen lately in terms of duo. I laughed, I got emotional, the highs were high, the lows were low, the tension was palpable, and the stakes got real. But because A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, season 1 that is 6 episodes long, concentrating on one character's POV the entire time, it's a much easier watch than any other season of television that takes place in Westeros. Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I was impressed. Alright, so A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.